All right, what is up, everybody? So, Shao Scout 0013 here coming in with a video with Grant Sonnier, who was at LSO and won the painting contest for the best heavy. And we kind of talk about his experience at LSO. So, I think that you'll find that this one was just a lot of fun as an interview. And you can kind of see and hear what Grant has to say about his time there and his games. So definitely give this video a watch, support him, and I think that he does a lot of great stuff for the channel. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. I just wanted to shout out the Discord. Head on over there to the Discord to become a member, and head on over to the Patreon where you can kind of help the channel. Hopefully, I'll be able to head over to YouTube memberships or YouTube members or whatever it's called because I don't do much ever, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about all of this to kind of give you guys more content and better content. So if you're interested in that, hopefully I can get all that set up. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and yeah, that's it. All right, what is up, everybody? So Shao Scout 0013 here, coming in with Grand Sonnier.
What up?
And today we're going to kind of go over the lists from LSO and kind of talk a little bit about your experience from LSO. Go over a few of the tables that were there, and we'll basically start with you and show off your lat after you're done talking. Because I know that you wound up winning the heavy hobby painting competition. So I'd love to hear like how it went for you, like what you did, maybe some changes to the list that you would make, as well as kind of then talk about your achievements, and then after that we'll go over all of the different lists and statistics and kind of just kind of show you guys what it was like. So if you want to go ahead and start, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Good thing we can save the achievements at the end because it's a very short list. But no, all in all, I'm gonna steal from Daniel Casalassi, and he's like, I won some games and I learned a lot. So that's gonna be the take for the weekend. No losses. I was playing around with a more so experimental list. This is the list that I've ran the most consecutive things on. So as far as like games, I've never really stuck to one specific list that I've gone through and gotten just multiple reps in. I knew I didn't want to do the six act list. And with the points drop to Yoda, I knew that that was really something that I wanted to focus in on. So I tried to come up with a list that was okay. How can I take some of the strengths of these six act lists as far as getting attrition going early, benefiting a lot from probably past tokens because everybody else is going to run larger lists than mine, and try to weigh some of that out. So I had Yoda with Force Push, Burst of Speed, Jedi Mind Trick, and Improvised Orders. I had Bad Batch, with their standard guys, a Naked Clone Infantry, a five Super Squad with the shotgun, the Ahsoka Shotgun Squad with the Clone Specialist and E Gear, a clone of ARC Troopers with the Captain and E Stems, ARFs with the Duo Squad, and then an ATRT with the Flamer. So that brought me in right at 8 acts, and I was sitting at 999 points. Um, and I'd gotten 8 games, or 7 or 8 games in with it prior. And I knew early on that it was going to be a tricky list to pilot. But I was really excited to take it to the GT, see how it would do. Um, some of the tables favored it very well. I think the first table that I played on was table 11, which was actually the last table that was on stream whenever Colton and Randy played in the finals. And it was a significantly more dense table. A lot of line of sight blocking, a lot of areas to where you can kind of position your pieces where you're outside of fire range. And if they want to get in a good fire lane, they would have to maneuver to where they would overexpose some other pieces. So it was a really fun table. all in all, I played a lot more Gar list than I was expecting. So like overall at the tournament, um, there were 11 Gar, 11 Empire, 6 Rebels, only 5 CIS, and 3 Shadow Collectives, which was wildly different from what I was expecting to see. I was planning on having maybe half that in Gar, maybe 6 or 7 Gar lists and a whole lot more CIS. But CIS was really kind of underrepresented at LSO, and that's because everybody around Oklahoma and Texas really likes to have vehicles in their list. So um, they and it's been said several times that they like to go through and still play Empire, even whenever it wasn't good, whenever it is getting better now with all the upgrades. So it was interesting to see, and like I said, I played a lot more against Gar than I have, and specifically with this list. So the first game that I played, Aiden from Oklahoma, super great guy. He was running an Anakin Cody list, and we ended up flipping into close the pocket and sweep, which both benefited us as Gar players. And then I think we both ended up with cunning. So as we were going through, not many shots got sent off early on. I think my ATRT took some shots. We were more so going through, and I was using him as a line of sight blocker. So expected him to take shots on the Soka squad was creeping up. My plan was to try to turn around turn 2 and hit a flamer shot off on him. But turn turn 1 played Luminous, made sure all my orders got out, and typically turn 2, especially for close the pocket, is whenever I pop burst on Yoda and do there's no try. That way I can have relentless on Yoda as well as the 5 squad. That way we're double moving on that middle point and really just kind of abusing anything that's going to be close. He flipped Anakin's 1 pip, and he pop burst, and I was a little bit over aggressive with my arcs, which is something that I've been trying to break the habit of. But he was able to get just enough movement in to where he engaged the arcs, took a swing, didn't finish all of them out, but was able to then pop over. They were close enough to my Ahsoka squad where he swung into the Ahsoka squad, and even with her dodge, I mean, she took, I think I lost 4 or 5 guys on that. Her not having any kind of net weights in the gate pierce is kind of rough. But so she tied up them early on. I knew better than to worry about Anakin with Yoda because I wasn't going to win that fight. So kept on, dove into the middle, and I think rounds 2 and 3 we stayed right pretty much equilibrium on points. He had his stronger side on my left in the center, and I had a lot more kind of towards the center, and I had Bad Batch and fives that were off on the right point. He had a couple barks, but I knew that I could pop Bad Batch's 3 pip and close that flank pretty quickly. So I just wanted to make sure that I got that going. His art or his barks rolled fantastic. My dice did not show up until round 3, but which even if I don't want to blame it on the dice, there were definitely a lot of deployment errors on my part. But all in all, he just started flipping the attrition really quickly. I think I ended up round 4, all I had left was Bad Batch, the 5 Super, and Yoda, and maybe a lone ARF squad. And by going into round 5, I knew it was done. He was able to pull ahead really early. So he was, picking up the secondary a lot, and I just wasn't able to have a good countermeasure back. Love Yoda as a disturbance piece, but man, whenever Anakin wants to turn into a blender, there's nothing to really stop or shut him down. So um, we continued just to play it out. Knew kind of early on that it would be done, but uh, great guy. We talked through a lot at the end of the game, and realized the mistakes. So round two, I got Reagan, who was on the pod or on the stream at the end, helping out David with Winter Moon, kind of talking through. That was probably one of the I think most learning games that I had. Reagan's excellent. He TOs a lot for the Dallas guys. Um, we kind of laughed about it. He had a lat in his list dropping off the Ahsoka squad, and at the start of the list that I had, it was named "Lats are bad" with a question mark. And then I ended up changing the list name because I couldn't get enough reps in to feel comfortable taking it to GT. So I ended up dropping the lat and echo R for the ARFs in order to get Bad Batch, which is a change that I was happy about. Right, you can't ever be upset with Bad Batch and what they do. Um, but uh, kind of similar thing. We ended up flipping into Close the Pocket and Surface Scan, and he had just a killer deployment. So he was running Cody Rex Bad Batch, and he had I think one Z6 trooper. The rest he had shotguns on, and then he had Ahsoka shotgun squad that was being transported in the lat. Um, and really, the table that we were playing on was a little bit more open than would have liked it to be. I was able to be red player for um, think for like 4 or 5 of my games, I was red. Stole blue twice, but that was one of the games where secondary wise, he had some things in there that I really didn't want to play. So I focused more on the objective side than the table side. But uh, he definitely had some really good moves. He took out. Or he tied up the 5 shooter squad really early on. So trying to turn on my Yoda shenanigans really kind of fell apart with that, and he was able to knock out and contest my scanner round two. So that was a huge kill in my momentum. Um, and his scanners were on Bad Batch and his ATRT, but he had played and held his ATRT in the back to where it's like, all right, well, if you really want to take this scanner out, you're going to have to devote a lot more of your army to it. And the way that it was lying out, I just couldn't afford to do that. ARFs just rolling 6 non-surging black dice for their points cost. They're the first thing getting cut from this list. So, but played through a very similar situation. Kind of went through, I think, by rounds end of round two, just seeing how everything was laying out going into round three. We talked about it, like, hey, look, we're making good pace right now. We're not crunch for time. Obviously, we can see how this is going to go. Let's just continue to play through it. So it was great. He was an excellent sport about it, and as we were talking about, like, hey, maybe it would make more sense to target this unit as far as like KP goes, like just little things that like you could just tell he's a very genuine guy about it. So ended up playing through. I made the small mistake round three, or not a small mistake, a pretty costly mistake round three. I was able to move my naked squad in to claim the scanner, but I moved them just out of engagement with Ahsoka squad. And realistically, I should have just gone ahead and moved into them because they had already activated, because they were able to get picked off pretty easy with Bad Batch. So um, that was game two. Game three of day one was my first win, and that was against Daniel. He was running a double ATST Krennic Fader list with Moth, and we were playing on a table. that was one of the games that I did still blue in order to get tableside. And the tableside that he had this really beautiful, gorgeous, like circular altar that we couldn't, or we decided not to declare it as area terrain because that would have just been, you know, almost 25% of the board was taken up by this one piece. So it wouldn't have made sense. But he had a difficult time trying to navigate and be able to fit an ATST in that terrain. So we were playing bunker and surface scan. So he really had to kind of front load one of his bunkers. So all I did was just dedicate an ATRT and an ARF to hold one of my home bunkers, and then everything else went on my right side. He had Moth go into that one bunker, but I took both Bad Batch and my ARC troopers and put them as far off coming off that top corner of my deployment zone and got them pretty close to where I knew, round two, I was going in and hunting for Gideon, um, and just really kind of collapsed his bunker. Vader was slowly marching over. He had some ion snows, and whenever we were talking through it, I think he dedicated maybe a little bit too much attention to that flamer HTRT, because he was worried. He had 3 units of ion snows, all behind an LOS area terrain, um, and just really kind of dumped a lot into it. RT did great that game, made it pretty well in, and then the ARF troopers too, that low profile, automatically taking one for cover. They held on forever. I think they had like 3 or 4 ATRT shots in them, and they still were able to like pull through. So was able to basically launch everything into his bunker, and get some wounds on it very early on. Turn three was able to blow it up, and at that time Vader was able to get into the mix, but then so was Yoda. So he chewed through the 5 squad. At the end of round three, I was able to do everything I needed to take care of Vader at that point and had whittled him down pretty good too. Um, I did make a mistake on whenever he put out his uh, or put out my surface scan. My plan was to have Bad Batch steady, go pick it up, come back, and shoot into a snow squad. But he saw, pretty early on, he was able to double move snows, and I underestimated just how much ground they would cover. So he was able to engage Bad Batch time up. We ended up playing through round four. At the end of round four, it was 8-10 in my favor. I had killed everything but one of the ATSTs. So was able to kind of claw back from my deficit. Um, but a lot of the tables that we kind of ran into, they had a good mix. Some of them were dense, and personally, I just like a denser table. I don't like, you know, wide open, a lot of fire lanes. And unfortunately, while they did have a good bit of dense tables, I think there were 17 or 18 tables in all. Um, I would say probably 10 of them or so were pretty open. So some of them were fairly bare. Not a lot of LSO blocking. Um, some of them had some area terrain that you could move through. Others were, 2 or 3 pieces of big LSO blockers, and then the rest were like light scatter terrain. Um, and we talked to the TO Thomas about it, who's a phenomenal guy. If y'all ever get a chance to go to a tournament that Thomas is putting on, absolutely do it. Him and his staff of judges were phenomenal. David and Spencer were super great, super responsive throughout the whole tournament. And then if you haven't ever gotten to listen to Winter Moon or watch Winter Moon whenever they're doing a stream, absolutely go check them out. David's awesome, and his setup is killer. Getting to see that in person, it was really, really interesting.
Yeah, I got
So
one question. Um,
mhm.
do you know why he decided to take Moff Gideon instead of Veers? Did he say? Was it
he
mostly?
had he had Veers, so he was running Vader apprentice. So he was running Op Vader instead of Commander Vader. So and we talked through it afterwards because just asking about how his experience was going. He had been playing around with Dark Troopers for a little bit, and I think he was only running two darks at the time, and he just felt like he wasn't quite optimizing them the best. So this was also kind of a test list for him. He said that he's really kind of getting ready for Oklahoma Open in November. Mitchum from X and One is going to be putting that one on, and uh, yeah, he said he had taken out the darks and kind of put in Vader and Veers with some of the ATSTs. He had molded a larger chunk of his list than I think he realized. And Veers stayed pretty close with one and definitely helped those ATSTs cover a little bit more ground. I was surprised none of them ever, like, he never guidance to standby on them, which probably could have been a pretty good deterrent on some of my moves. Because one of the ATSTs just marched straight on to the base that I had my ATRT and my ARF troopers on, and then his other one kind of pivot and basically went in between. He was doing more so a beeline to my other home base because at that time all I had that really held back on it was just the Naked Squad. Everything else, my Ahsoka, Fives, Arcs, Bad Batch, Yoda, really just kind of collapsed his one base. Uh, but and there again, if I would have played bunker more than I had with this list, I definitely probably would have not had Bad Batch outfit or have Yoda go more so to his other base. Because at the end of round four, I was able to steady and get pretty close to it, but not close enough to score, just close enough to nuke Veers off the map. So, um, yeah, it was an interesting list, and I had seen it in the Discord a couple days prior to the tournament, and I even said I was like, "That's interesting," and I hope I don't go against it because I just didn't really have much to combat the ATSTs. But speaking of not being able to combat ATSTs, so game one or game four, day two, first game of the day. I went with the Space City Command guys, all the Houston guys, because they're the closest group to me locally. And it was a double friendly fire. We had seven guys with Space Command there, including myself. And game one, day two, four of us were paired against each other. So I was playing Michael and his Tempest Force. If you go back and watch stream day one, he's got some beautiful, beautiful ATSTs. One is a Whataburger ATST, and on its base, like underneath its foot, is a little 3D printed in and out sign. Um, He's got a Dr. Pepper. Oh, it's great. I'll have to get him to send me some pictures to put it in the Discord. But yeah, he's got a Dr. Pepper ATST, and then his Major Marquard is Captain America themed, with the whole star on his chest and everything. So um, I was really excited. That night as day one wrapped up, we were talking. I was very fortunate most of my rounds, and probably because I got like borderline curb stomped on my first two games. All of my games were going basically to completion or to at least like round five where we would have completed. But a good bit of the guys there did experience a little bit of slow play. None of it intentional. A lot of it's just kind of that decision paralysis that people get into. Grand tournament, a lot of eyes, a lot of internal pressure that we put on ourselves. So I think that that was kind of getting to a couple of people. The conversation did get brought up as far as like, hey, while it's not something that is tournament regulated, like, can I just put like a chess clock out? That did get shut down per AMG. There's not supposed to be any clocks or anything to try to track the time. So I was excited to play Michael because I've never gotten to play him at a local yet. And I knew, okay, we're gonna play through, basically all of the rounds. Um, but also my first experience against Tempest, and he's an excellent pilot. He TOs a lot of the tournaments in South Houston. Super great guy. And at I think halfway through round two, I reached across the table. I shook his hand, said, "Thank you for the game. Let's go ahead and finish it out." But I know how this is going to end. So we were playing recover and sweep. That was one that I did end up getting blue player on, and I, talking through it at the end, probably should have picked the other side. But I knew it was the same table that I had played Dylan on, and I knew the side that I had chosen had kind of posed some issues as far as ATSTs. I was like, and plus we were playing recover the research, and the way that everything laid out, one of my labs was like perfectly blocked by a big piece of terrain. So I knew, okay, early on, that's free lab all day. So I chose my side, had a decent deployment, as we were going back through and talked through it. Um, Scout 2 on ATSTs is absolutely disgusting. I was trying to be very precise about where I was deploying everything, specifically like my ATRT, because that's the one little kind of strong piece I have to try to survive things. And he had all of his core heavy one side. I knew I had a base that I needed to protect. Because at first I wanted to go the box strategy where I worry about keeping two of mine safe and I just push forward and take two of his. The way that he was piling everything out, I knew that wasn't realistic, so I went for the L instead, where you take your three home POIs and just try to catch the one that's closest to you as far as their home POIs. Uh, and had it somewhat work out. The R squad once again held out really long, but they just took so many shots that I think they made it all the way through three rounds. But at the end of round three, they were suppressed to high heaven. So Yoda was too far out to give him his bubble. So um, ended up losing that point, and took a lot of kind of key shots early on that hurt me in the long run. Was able to kind of keep up some things on sweep and clear. I wasn't able to score friendly turn one, which was a big hit. He was able to get it pretty early on with the ATSTs. They took out that RT in a snap. Um, but was able to, the very last activation of round four. I knew this would be the last round. He was close enough on VPs where I knew we were going to get to 12. I sent Bad Batch in and took a shot at some storms, got it down to the one guy. So I knew I was going to pop Yoda and go next, and obviously playing back because after Bad Batch went, he had a scout squad that was able to move up and get a lot more exposed and throw some shots into Bad Batch. So he was able to get them down. I think all that I had left was Hunter and Echo, but that allowed me to burst Yoda in and get to his friendly territory. Uh, Rolled my dice, and unfortunately, I've got the law of statistics, so I got 3 hits through. It was a 4-man squad, so got it all down just to one guy. So that would have put me at 8 to 12 instead of 6 to 12. But all in all, once again, it was a great game. Could see very early on how it was going to turn out. Uh, and then very last game, I didn't play all the way through game six. Father early duties called, so with 5.5 hours drive back to Louisiana, I was like, all right, I told my wife because she was asking like, what time are you going to come home? It's like, well, let's see how this game goes. If I get another win, my ego might be brushed a little bit, so I might want to keep things going. But played a Rebel Ahsoka Sabine list. So he had Leia, Ahsoka, Sabine, Clan Ran, 2 sleeper cells, 5 naked Rebel troopers, and an airspeeder. So a lot of bodies in that list. And got everything deployed. We ended up switching tables because we had both played on the table that we were at already. I think that was my table from day two or from day one. Whenever I played Reagan, and he had played against it as well. It was another kind of really open and spacey table. So thankfully, we had some awesome guys next to us that we were like, "Hey, look, have y'all played on this table yet? Have y'all played on that table? Do y'all want to swap?" And both of them had actually had a game on that table as well. So we're like, sweet, let's just swap it over. Um, we ended up playing Intercept and Surface. I was cool with both of those, so I stole blue and chose the table side that had a little bit more forgiving area terrain. So one side was definitely a little bit weaker and more open. But I saw a path pretty early on. I had intel on my 5 squad and my arcs because he denied it off a bad batch, and I gave my scanner to Bad Batch and the 5 squad, and saw very early on a good way that as he was deploying, I could send Bad Batch around to capture his home point while really focusing in, keeping fives alive on the middle point to the right. So started going through, didn't take too many crazy shots. Turn one, we were both playing relatively back. I lied. He did take out my ATRT turn one. He scouted in his sleeper cells and took a shot into the ATRT, which just 12 black dice, surging the hit with 2 aims from scout. He got a full boat on it, so he was very easily able to go over its armor. And it took a couple plink shots from the 2 rebel troopers that had gone on beforehand. So I think he had like 1 wound on it, and then he rolled 12, and I just couldn't get the rest of it off. But um, so that went out early, but it also really exposed his sleeper cells. So I wasn't that worried about it. I knew I was going to be able to get shots on them early on. Um, and then he was playing Ahsoka and Sabine a little bit more aggressive than I would have thought. But it worked out in his favor. Turn two came around. I played Yoda's 2 pip. He played the teamwork card with Ahsoka and Sabine. So he was able to activate with Ahsoka, or he activated with Sabine first. Uh, had Ahsoka do a speed 2 move to get in a little bit better position, a little less out in the open, and move Sabine in on the point and took a bunch of dodges. So he loaded up Ahsoka with dodges, and then turn or the next activation, he burst in with Ahsoka with all the dodges, got the full 6 on Yoda, and I was like, okay, no worries, and whiffed all but one.
Oof.
So Yoda died started turn two, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh. Because, I mean, this list really falls apart without him. So, having him off the table early on definitely hurt. Was able to get fives in and still make some other things happen. So I had fives in scoring that rounds. I had my arcs contesting the other POI. So and all our scanners are still going. So it stayed pretty much even scoring, except for what point did I? Oh no, I was able to take out his sleeper cell turn two, the one that I came forward and taken out my ATST. So it was 3-2 round two, and consistently throughout it, I was able to stay ahead just by that one. Um, Turn four was whenever it really kind of started to fall apart. So fives had gotten engaged with Sabine pretty early on, just trying to dump dice into her and try to get him to drop their scanner. Um, but realistically, I probably should have just not even tried that and just try to kill all the other things around them. Um, I was trying to get rid of the pierce that she had on her gun with Gunslinger, because this list really doesn't have any way to combat pierce outside of Bad Batch, Yoda, and the arcs. So like my Ahsoka squad actually took a lot of shots, survived long, but took enough shots to where it really built up her suppression count. And she kind of got locked down at that point, not having Yoda's bubble. Really hurt. So sat there, tried. He ended up having to like suicide bomb basically. So he dropped both of his bombs right outside to where I think he clipped 3 or 4 of his own units with the bombs to try to like get the five squad knocked down enough. And at the end of round four, he finally was able to get fives taken care of um, after I had killed Sabine. But in killing Sabine, uh, it also freed them up from engagement, and he had disengaged his other 2 rebel troopers that were in there. So I think Fives was like 1 health whenever everything was finally said and done. And then Sleeper Cell rolled in, sent shots into Fives, and ended up dropping my scanner. And with one of his troopers that he disengaged, he was able to pick up Sabine's scanner and then contest my own. So he really pulled ahead at that point. Um, and I told him, I was like, look, realistically, there's nothing else that we're going to be able to do. Like all I had left at that point was Bad Batch and my arcs, which they were on the other side of the table. Even if Bad Batch were to double move, they wouldn't be able to contest. So he's like, well, let's just play it through as if we would. So went on, just enough to kill that last trooper. So we kept going on as far as scoring. So he jumped from what would have been, I think it would have been 11-7, and we went to 9-3 or 9-13. So at that point, I knew. Well, I'd say before that, I knew that it was time to put up this ADAC list, which had all intentions of doing until one of the local TOs from Houston was like, give it a couple more goes. See what really you can do with that list. And at that time, if you can't do anything with it, just call it quits, move on to something else. So thank you, Zach, for pushing me forward. I will get 3 more games with it, and then at that time, I think it's going to get tabled. But um, yeah, so at that point, started doing all my goodbyes, shaking hands, told my wife, "Yep, hey, I'm be heading home." And it was at that point that I was telling Thomas, the main TO guy, he's like, "Hang on, you're not leaving yet." So he pulled me aside, and that's when he let me know that The lat that I had painted up initially for this list had won best in the heavy category. So got a sweet set of Turbo Dork metallic paints. Really eager to get those on some models and get things going to see what we can do. But all in all, super fun event, super great time. I highly suggest anybody that's on the fence. If you have the opportunity to go to a grand tournament, just go. Doesn't matter if you haven't been, finding the most competitive list. Even if you go and just have fun, you're never not going to learn something. Each game that I had, win or lose, like I said at the beginning, Daniel Castellassi always says, he's like, I won some games and I learned a lot during some games. So you're going to pick up on things. You're going to start getting an eye, just like that. Being able to see early on in the game and knowing, like, hey, this is probably not going to work out, or hey, maybe there's this way that I can claw back. Um, that gives you the opportunity to do some really wacky stuff, right? Because talking with the gentleman that I was playing my last game, he was like, I really don't want to play this, but I feel like I have to. And that play ended up winning him the game because that allowed him to get Ahsoka in and to wipe out Yoda and, really just kind of dissolve a lot at that point. So, go try it out. If nothing else, you're going to learn. You're going to meet some great people. Got to meet some guys from the Discord. Got to meet some guys from some of the other Discords as well. So just really great time. You get some killer prize support. You get those sweet marble dice. Getting my quantities up on those slowly but surely. You get some of the new command cards as far as like the push and the assault. So if you're on the fence about it, go. I promise you, you will not regret it.
Yeah, no, I think, these grand tournaments are so much fun. You meet a lot of good people and a lot of really, high skilled players, and you can learn quite a bit from them. And so, yeah, that's really cool that you wound up learning a lot and meeting a lot of cool people.
Yeah. No. Great time. Shout out to Thomas again. Did an awesome job. And then shout out to Colton who won. He's with the Jerry's Game Shop in Oklahoma. They do a podcast as well. Super cool guy. All the Oklahoma and Dallas guys are super open and welcoming and warm to everybody that came in. Walked in first night. I was the only one at the hotel and got to meet a lot of the guys, and they just welcome in open arms. Got to talk with all the guys like I'd known them all my life. So really killer group of guys up there.
Yeah, and do you want to show off the lat that you painted?
Yeah. So ended up going, there we go, that's kind of more in focus there. Really love the Coruscant Guard theme. So instead of the traditional blue, went with red and have my fox thorn and just a genetic down at the bottom. Ended up getting these cool kind of repelling guys off of Etsy. Super nice detailed models. They've even got a little guy that sits in the back there. And got the LEDs. Wish I would have put them in a slightly different place as far as the front. On the video right now, it looks nice and red and illuminated, but in person, it doesn't quite get that same shine. And then was able to take a lot of the old vital assets, comm towers, the crates, and some leftover guns and helmets, and use that to more or less hide where the battery pack stays in at. But yeah, super fun piece to paint. If anybody is thinking about getting a lat, do it. They're really fun to play with in the game. Door gunner's fun. Getting to go in and transport really changes a lot. Playing against Reagan did it great. He kind of launched it straight up, dropped out Ahsoka, and that's how they were able to get that five group, get to my five super squad so early on. So Yeah, it was great time and absolutely 10 out of 10 recommends if you're on the fence about getting a lat and are intimidated by it because that had sat in my closet for over a year now because I was like, nah, I'm not gonna put it together just yet. I'm gonna wait. And then with all the changes, like, all right, let's see if we can make this happen. So it is as far as the hobby side goes, I don't. Isaiah said it the best. There are a lot of guys and gals out there that they get into Legion so they can have something to hobby and to paint. And getting to play the game is kind of a bonus. I'm not that artistic. I was really shocked whenever Thomas pulled me aside and was like, "Dude, you've got to enter that." I'm like, "Okay." I mean, I brought it up there, so might as well. But yeah, I do not play to paint. I paint to play. So it was really cool. A lot of effort and time went into it. So glad that everybody liked it and kind of got to show it off a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool looking piece, and yeah, I'm glad that you wound up winning with it and bringing it to begin with.
Yeah. Yep. Glad to finally take it out of that case though. It is definitely a little bit of a taller model. So chugging along in the case, everything else as far as my trays are pretty tight in there. So getting to take it out is gonna be nice. But now I gotta find spot on the shelf over there to display it and it's already kind of full.
I know, right? Yeah, I've seen it on Discord. You've got quite a few minis on there.
Yeah. Yeah, the collection or collector addiction side of me will not let me just have one army. Got your guys right there at the top. They've been
Yeah, they look good.
played with a couple of times. Oh yeah, dude, such a great rebel lot. So, but yeah, no, super fun times, super ready for these new core sets and these new models to drop. Already got some pre-orders in on some of them, and I know that next time I go into my local game store, probably going to pre-order that Grievous bike too, just because, man, that is a absolutely gorgeous model.
It looks so good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of see that running down the table alongside the other Magna Guard bike or wheel bike, whatever it is. Tearing up some poor clones.
Oh man, like I said, this was the most exposure that I got to playing a lot of Gar list. Um, no, I kind of get it. Worked tough for me to choose through. At least other people's red dice seem to work.
It's always like that, man. It's always like that. Everyone else's red
Yeah.
dice is so much better than yours every time, no matter what, hands down.
Oh yeah. No, we had some hot my first game we had hot white defense dice whenever it came to rolling suppression. It was like I think I had one that had like 3 or 4 suppression and I rolled all of them off. Um so it's like, wow, okay, cool. Let's let's go here. I won't take one less action. Um but yeah, that definitely had a couple games where I rolled and ended up started like whispering to the dice like if you don't do good here, you're going in the oven and then like wrote them and they still didn't listen, but at least I threatened them.
Yeah, the threat sometimes can work, but sometimes they'll call your bluff and they don't care.
Yeah. No. I did learn from Reagan, who learned from Colton, on your Hunter Black Dice. Whenever you get to do his free action at range one, do a 360 no scope, and you'll be surprised. You will see paint on that Black Dice.
A 360 no scope. What do you mean?
Yep. So if you've got your dice tray right there, just go ahead and go a little bit of whoop, throw it in. You'd be surprised.
Okay.
Had some consistent black dice rolls on that free attack. And once again, that was all from Reagan, who got it from Colton. So it worked out well.
It's kind of like a rain dance, but for dice.
That's right. And maybe I just need to do that on my defensive rolls too. Just kind of do a little bit of shake and then throw them out and see what we can get.
Yeah, I'm thinking I've got like like a cup of Darth Vader, and like his helmet is like the cup portion. So I
Oh
might try to
yeah,
like put some felt or something on the inside, and then just you put all the dice in there, and just roll Vader and see if he.
yuppie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why people don't use those. Like those things. I feel like you can get a big enough one, you can stack all 20 something dice in there that you need for a flame throw.
Oof, man. That was one thing I was slightly disappointed on. I was not able to get any flame shots off,
Mm.
which I knew that's also something that might happen to that list. Against the ATSC, I did have a pretty decent naked roll with my ATRT with his two blacks and a white for his main gun. Not bad. Impact one, crit one. I think I ended up getting like two through on it. So definitely something to think about if I'm starting to hurt for points. Like I'm not thrilled about having to take E-stems off of those arcs because man, at
They're
least
so
my
good.
arcs, my arcs like to die a lot. So yeah, might end up just taking the flamer off and just having him as a wall that gets to shoot his main gun into some armor sometimes.
Yeah, no, their gun is no joke. You could take a naked ATRT and you'd be surprised at what you're getting through.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, even their melee too. I mean, what that was our game the other day, right? Being able to back up, you're not stuck on, a front arc, side arc, back arc, and those claws, I mean, three red ain't nothing.
Nope. Yeah, it can be a pretty devastating attack, especially with something with like one or two wounds left.
Yeah. So, no, it was great. Had some really, really beautiful tables. Like I said, there were some tables that were a little bit more scarce than others. But Frontline Gaming puts on an awesome event, and they actually on some tables they had the denser tables. They were saying they had just so much terrain that was similar themes that they just wanted to put it how they could. And they didn't want to necessarily always break out of that, immersionness of the table. So some of them suffered a little bit from it. Thankfully, didn't get anything that was too crazy. But like I said, I like a denser table. Everybody, man, your list on that table with your pikes and all your mandos, you would have feasted on the table 11. I
Yeah.
was so glad that I didn't have to play anything that had jump one because it was scary.
Yeah, that's why I really like that list. I mean, five units in that list have jump and uh, like either impervious or immune to pierce. So at least half the
Right.
list is going to be doing fairly well, and it also kind of is close range and lots of dice there. So I think the jump keyword is really good right now.
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of tables too, like we were measuring out for my last game because he had Mandos and Sabine, or he had Clan Ren and Sabine, and most everything. I think there were two pieces that were over height one, but they were like just barely over height one, where they were height two. So the extra mobility that it offers is really not something to be slept on, and just like that, a good peekaboo, being able to be like, all right, well, shoot, I'm going to move back. Next turn, I'm going to activate and really just fall back to where now I have this giant wall between me and you. Yeah, that's not nothing to be discounted for sure. So
Yeah, I wish they had like steady or something like that, but that'd be too good.
steady on a speed three unit would be well. I mean, we've got Bad Batch and we see what that does. So
I know
it's
it's devastating.
it is devastating. And I mean, even just those naturally speed three units, like there were so many times that playing this list with Yoda and, complaining about him being speed one, moving on to the board. Typically, I would do Luminous always on turn one. Thankfully, I didn't play anybody with Han, so I got to play that card every time. Um, Typically, after that, my next move is there is no try. And on pop burst on Yoda, and it always surprised me. I typically don't get him engaged with things, but I always get him close enough to where he can push a unit off of a point, or he can wave it and then Jedi mind trick it to where, it's suppressed off the point. Um, Yoda's a great unit, but yeah, being able to go speed 3 is definitely not a joke and not something to be underestimated on turn 1. Keep an eye on those threat bands because there's times where you think you're safe coming, just past range 1 off your deployment. Don't do it.
Yeah, you got to kind of make sure that you're doing all the math in your head, because you're like, all right, well, if we're playing intercept, you know that it is what 30 inches away from your board edge, and so if you can,
Yep.
double move with a speed 3, then okay, you're fine. But that is double moving 2 rounds to get to that POI without firing. And then not only that, but okay, so now, Bad Batch is coming in at speed 3 with Scout. So now that's what, 6 inches plus another 16 inches. So that's what, 22 inches. And then if they have another 12 inches
Well, and
of.
then range 2, yeah, for range 2, you got 12 inches of firepower right there. So it's one definitely not, and you can see it in the streams the last day. You could see, Colton did it pretty well. Randy from X of One did it great too. You can use that to your advantage sometimes, because it was, I think it was Randy on that last game. He played a couple of his pikes a little bit more forward, but he had plenty of other units to where it's like, you can use that bait and switch. It's like, okay, I have this lower costed unit. I'm going to stick it out a little bit too far. That way, you're going to see that and want to play a little bit more aggressively and get your shot off. That's a big thing that I have been trying to pick up on, and I've been learning a little bit more. Having that game plan ahead of time, and this helps with like the unintentional slow play too, to where whenever you get that decision paralysis, if you go in ahead of time and you know what your plan is, you know what your deployment is typically going to look like. Obviously, don't be so rigid to where you can't make adjustments. But keep in mind, especially if you're not going last, watch what units your opponent has activated because there are going to be times where, yeah, you might be able to get a juicy shot with one of your more expensive units to maybe flip that attrition rate or get that attrition flowing. But in doing that, how much are you exposing yourself? What are you opening yourself up to? If they don't have anything that's really going to be like range 4, do it. Peek a little bit forward. But definitely just keep that in mind, and keep in mind too. Okay, if you do expose yourself, well, you still got to go around 2, and you never know what they're gonna do. Just like that. I was not expecting Yoda or Anakin just that early in those 2 games to just launch themselves in there, but hey, they did it. Had me thinking last night, okay, hey, what happens if I do throw Rex in this list? What happens if I play Yoda's 2 pip round 1 and then scout Yoda in and have him pop burst? Like, he could cover some ground, but what does that leave him exposed to afterwards? So definitely some fun experimenting and some playing around to do. Now that the pressure's off from the GT, gonna try just some of that wacky stuff just to see what sticks. I think that's a really big key thing too. Is don't get so set in your ways. Have a couple of games where it's like, all right, hey, this is going to be light, this is going to be fun. Because at the end of the day, that's why we all do it, right? We all do it to have fun. Yes, we play to win, and winning is fun, but learn your list, learn what all it can do, learn what all it can't do. That way, whenever you get in those situations of, okay, hey, I've lost Yoda, how does this list work? Or man, I was really banking on this one thing and now that's closed off to me. Now you can see, okay, well, I've got options B and C still in the chamber versus just thinking that A is the only way forward, right? There's always another way. You've just got to change your perspective and know what's available to you.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a really good discussion and overview of, I think, your time at LSO and a lot of the stuff that you wind up learning. So I think if you want, we can kind of call it there. I don't know if you've got. I know you've already done a lot of shout outs and you've said thank you to all these guys. I wasn't sure if there was anything else you wanted to say, but I'm glad that you're going to be experimenting with a few other things and going to the Oklahoma tournament soon. You'll have to keep us updated on that and kind of give me some more practice reps with that list and let me see how it does. And because I'm always open to trying to play some Republic stuff. I play Anakin outside of Maul a lot, and I think he's really good. But Yoda, there's a lot of tricks with Yoda that can be really really fun. So I'll have to try to break into that soon, and maybe we can play like a mirror of Yoda, Bad Batchy kind of stuff and see where it goes. But thanks a lot for joining in and talking about your experience here. Hopefully, I'll have this up on like a Tuesday. Tomorrow? Yeah,
Yeah,
tomorrow. Yeah, maybe I can get this edited for tomorrow.
awesome. Yeah, no, looking forward to it, and yeah, looking forward to getting some more games in to hopefully be able to free up, get some more tournament games in as well. Try to get some more experience and uh, yeah, just have a great time.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Hopefully, you'll reach out in the Discord to even just talk to us and ask any questions, or if you've got something that you're interested in, you can ask us. I know Grant, you're definitely very active in the Discord, which is great and awesome. So if you guys want to get in contact with him, just type away. But thanks so much, guys, for watching. Thank you, Grant, for joining in, and we'll see you in another video.
Absolutely. See
All right.
ya.
Yep. See you guys.